Is there a pilot on board? The captain's voice cracked through the intercom, urgent, almost trembling. Passengers gasped, eyes darting, whispers rising like static. Row 12 stirred. A woman jolted awake, her eyes widening. She had boarded. Quietly, unnoticed, just another traveler in the crowd. But when she rose to her feet, the truth about who she was stunned the entire plane. The flight had been routine. A late evening departure. Passengers tired, some flipping through magazines, others dozing under thin blankets. Row 12, seat C, held a woman named Naomi Carter. To most, she looked ordinary. Her jacket slightly wrinkled, her hair tied back, a pair of headphones resting loosely around her neck. She had leaned against a window, drifting into sleep as the engines hummed, but then the announcement shattered the calm. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the captain. We have a medical emergency in the cockpit. I repeat, is there a licensed pilot on board? The cabin froze, eyes widened, a child whimpered. Someone gasped, "Did he just say, the captain?" Flight attendants hurried down the aisle, scanning, asking desperately, "Any pilots? Please, any pilots?" Naomi's eyes snapped open. 4. A heartbeat, she stayed still, her mind racing. She hadn't planned to be noticed. She hadn't flown commercially in years. Memories surged back. The roar of engines, the weight of responsibility, the call signs whispered in tense airspace. She had walked away from that life, carrying both pride and scars. Now fate was pulling her back. Row 12 her seatmate, an older man, noticed her tense posture. "Ma'am, you look like you know something. Are you?" She exhaled slowly. "I used to be," and then she stood. The aisle seemed impossibly long. Dozens of faces turned, fear and hope colliding in their stares. A flight attendant rushed toward. Her eyes wide. "Do you have training?" Naomi nodded once. "Commercial license. Former Air Force. What's the situation?" Gasps rippled through the rows. Some whispered, "She's a pilot?" Others clasped hands in prayer. Inside the cockpit, the scene was chaos. The captain slumped in his chair, unconscious, paramedics and training passengers trying to keep him stable. The co-pilot, young, pale, drenched in sweat, looked up as Naomi entered. His hands shook on the controls. Bird strike, damaged engine. "I can't do this alone." He's TAMMERED. Naomi slid into the captain's seat, her hands moving. Instinctively across the instruments, muscle memory awakened. The dials, switches, throttles, it all came back in a rush. Her voice dropped into calm authority. "All right, I've got control. You monitor comms. We'll bring her down." The co-pilot stared at her. Who are you?" She didn't look up. "The only chance you've got." The radio crackled. "Flight 327, confirmed status. Do you require emergency landing clearance?" Naomi's voice was steady. "This is Flight 327. Captain incapacitated. One engine down. I am assuming command. Request immediate priority landing." Silence on the other end. Then, "Copy that." "Confirm. Who are you?" Her jaw tightened. "Captain Naomi Carter. Former Air Force, Delta qualified. And yes, I can fly this bird." The control tower's reply was sharp with relief. "Roger that, Captain. You're clear for priority approach. Back." In the cabin, tension was suffocating. Children cried quietly into their mothers' arms. Passengers gripped armrests, murmuring prayers. A businessman whispered, "We're finished," but row 12 was no longer empty. The woman who had boarded unnoticed was now the only thing standing between them and disaster. One flight attendant, trembling, whispered to another, "She doesn't even look afraid," but inside, Naomi's mind was a storm. She had walked away from flying years ago after a near miss in the Air Force that had cost her a friend. Since then, she had sworn never again. But now? Lives depended on her. She tightened her grip on the controls. Not this time. Not today. The descent began. One engine sputtered, alarms blaring. The co-pilot panicked. "We're too heavy. We won't clear that ridge." Naomi's eyes narrowed. She pulled the yoke, adjusted flaps, rerouted power. Her voice cut through the panic. Trust me. Fly the instruments. Don't fight the plane. The aircraft trembled, dipping low. Passengers screamed as city lights loomed closer. In row 12. The older man who had sat beside Naomi earlier whispered, "Come on, lady. Bring us home." The tower guided them in. Flight 327. You are cleared. Runway 24L winds cross at 20 knots. Do you copy? Naomi's tone never wavered. Copy. 24L. We're coming in. The ground rushed up, closer, closer. The co-pilot's hands shook uncontrollably. Naomi took full control. Brace for landing. Her voice commanded. In the cabin. Passengers gripped seats, heads bowed, tears streaking cheeks. The wheels screeched. Sparks flew. The plane jolted violently, skidding, bouncing, but holding. Naomi fought the rudder pedals, every muscle straining. And then stillness. The plane groaned, slowed, and stopped. Silence. Then cheers, cries. Applause erupted like thunder through the cabin. People hugged strangers, sobbing with relief. Flight attendants collapsed in the seats, shaking and laughing through tears. Naomi sat in the cockpit, chest heaving, sweat streaking her forehead. The co-pilot stared at her in disbelief. You just saved over 200 lives. She looked out the window, runway lights reflecting in her tired eyes. No, she said softly. They saved me. When the passengers disembarked, they looked at her with awe. She had boarded as no one. She left as a hero, and in the chaos of flashing lights and rushing medics, the boy from row 7 tugged at her sleeve. His eyes were wide, shining. "Miss, are you really a pilot?" Naomi knelt, smiled faintly, and whispered. Once. And tonight. Again. That night, the world was reminded of something powerful. Heroes don't always wear uniforms or sit in cockpits. Sometimes they're asleep in row 12, waiting for the moment when silence must become strength. Would you have trusted Naomi if you were on that plane? Share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more cinematic stories of hidden heroes and second chances.